Hello everybody, this is Pkmn 16, and for this video I will be talking about the Pokemon from Generation 5 that I have a liking for. Now, a little thing when it comes to Generation 5, I will pretty much say straightforward that I believe that Generation 5 is a very underrated generation. Why? It's mainly because of the roster when it comes to a few specific Pokemon, where a lot of people say that these Pokemon are just straight up rip-offs of previous generation Pokemon, but that's besides the point of this video. Anyway, I'm gonna hope to try and make this video shorter than what I've done previously, but if this video is like over an hour long, again, I apologize for that. So without further ado, to be talking about the first Generation 5 Pokemon is, well, basically, Braviary. Yes. Braviary. So what can I say about this bird? Well, first of all, as with always, design. Basically, he is based off of our country's bird, which is that of the bald eagle. Yeah. This is basically Pokemon's representation of America, and they do it with Braviary. And basically, people sometimes they just decide to nickname it the American bird. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually still a thing today when it comes to Braviary. But yeah, I just love the design of Braviary, because he's basically a brave bird. Yeah, see what I did there? So yeah, that's all I can really say. Now, Braviary competitively. Well, when it comes to America's bird in Pokemon, he's not bad. He basically is the case of a Pokemon that has a really good attack stat, and everything else is more or less average, minus HP. Because he has defense of 75, well really both of his defenses are 75, special attack of 57, and speed of 80. So pretty much saying Braviary is not completely slow, but compared to probably a lot of other Pokemon, he would be. For his abilities, he has the ability of Defiant, where basically Braviary's attack is raised by 2 stages for each of its stats that is lowered by an opposing Pokemon. So that's pretty good. Then he also has Keen Eye, pretty much meaning his accuracy shall not be lowered. And he also ignores evasion stat changes of the opposing Pokemon. And his hidden ability is the very well known and liked Sheer Force, which is, well, again, basically moves that have secondary effects will have a power increase, but lose their secondary effects. And well, Braviary just, well, pretty much he has really good abilities. And in terms of what he can do competitively, we basically got an offensive bulk up, a substitute bulk up. I basically just kind of bulk him up. Yeah. Basically, Braviary can be good competitively if you know how to use them. Well, a lot of Pokemon can be good competitively if you know how to use them. So yeah, basically, Braviary looks good. He can hit pretty hard, and that's all I can say. Now to Shiny Braviary, well, all I can say is they did it right. They basically take all the red and make it a nice, good blue color. And I do believe that the under part of him is also a different shade too. Okay, yeah, looking at it now, going from like a darkish blue to like a dark brownish color, like a brownish black. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but yeah, overall, Shiny Braviary just looks amazing. Do I say it's better than regular Braviary? A little bit, but that's all I gotta say. Braviary, really cool Pokemon. Game Freak just really knows how to represent America in Pokemon form. Though it's not the only one, but thankfully they're not on this list. Well, really, why am I saying thankfully? I'm just saying that they're not on this list. Anyway, moving on to numero dos for my next Pokemon. And, well, it's a Pokemon that's not too terribly liked or loved, but I like him a whole lot. And that is, well, Dredigan. Oh, yes, I absolutely love Dredigan. Though a lot of people say that he doesn't, and some of them just go out their way to say, oh, he's just the one dragon type that broke the mold of all cool dragon type Pokemon. Yeah, whatever. Here's what I would like to say about Dredigan. His design is, well, of course, amazing. And one of the features that I like about Dredigan is basically those long arms. Yet, people don't like them, but I do. Now, the thing about it is with Dredigan, even though it looks like he has wings, he just doesn't fly, which is kind of weird. Now, if given the case that Dredigan, if he had a Mega Evolution, which I really get the feeling he won't, he would definitely become a Dragon Flying type and give him the actual ability to fly, but do I really see Game Freak ever making Megas in the future? I don't know. Probably not. Because, yeah, with the whole thing with Megas, I feel like they've just kind of been dropped at this point, but who knows. But yeah, Dredigan to me, I feel like he would be a Gen 5 Pokemon. Definitely worth receiving a Mega Evolution if for some reason Game Freak brings back Megas. But yeah. Now, to be talking about Dredigan competitively, well, it's kind of unfortunate for Dredigan that, well, he's not the greatest around. I mean, he is kind of in the way of, like, Braviary. He has a really good attack stat, some decent defense. Special attack is, well, why even bother using that? And his speed is, well, almost molasses. Basically, 120 attack, 90 defense, or 90 in both defenses, 60 attack, and 48 speed. Yeah, he ain't win no speed contest ever. But his abilities are rather good. He basically has, well, basically one of his abilities is that a mold breaker. Basically, Dredigan's moves and its effects ignore the abilities of other Pokemon, so that's cool. Also having Rough Skin, where basically any opponent who makes physical contact with him will lose 1/8 of their HP. And of course, with Light Braviary, he also has Sheer Force, which is really good. And basically with those two, you slap a Life Orb on, and yeah, Dredigan and Braviary can go to town. But even though, in the case of one set here, it's basically a defensive set, having either Leftovers or Rocky Helmet. But yeah, if you were to run a Ruskin Dredigan, you could actually slap on the Rocky Helmet and get some more damage off. But, all in all, that's not really all that bad for a Dredigan. Because yeah, basically, Dredigan can be a good Dragon type, it's just, unfortunately, he's just outclassed by a lot of other better dragons out there. But it's not to say that Dredigan's a bad dragon type. He can do something if you set him up right. But that's all I can really say. Now for shiny Dredigan. Well, as you can clearly see, he's a green shiny, which nobody likes at all. And they all pretty much say, with the fact of the green combined with the orange, he kind of looks like a pumpkin. And I say, what? He's more green than orange, thank you very much. But yeah, basically, he's green shiny, no one likes it, no one will ever like it because green shinies are horrible. But for me, I like Dredigan in these colors. I think it's actually better than regular Dredigan. Cause the green is not like what people would call like a gross green. Like, it's not snot or vomit green. It's really more of a plant-based green, to be honest. but it's the right shade of green. And that's all I can really say. I just like shiny Dredigan more than regular Dredigan. And Dredigan is just not a bad dragon type. Yes, he's an outclassed dragon type, but he's still a good one if you know how to use him. And that's all I really gotta say about Dredigan. A pretty underrated Gen 5 Pokemon that I feel like needs some more loving. But he probably has a lot of fans out there and I just don't know it. Anyway, moving on to the next Pokemon in line is, well, a Pokemon that, well, he doesn't get a lot of love, but he doesn't get a lot of hate either. And, well, it is that of the second spider-based Pokemon ever made, Galvantula. Yes, when I saw this Pokemon for the first time, I just fell in love with it. Because, seriously, you basically have a giant electrified tarantula. Though anybody who's arachnophobic would not like this thing, like, at all. Because, yeah, it's basically a giant electric spider. So arachnophobes do not like this thing. Though, again, he's basically 50-50. Some people like him and some people don't. Some people love him and some people just hate him. But for me, he's a personal favorite of mine for a reason, because of the fact that I like spiders. Because I'm basically saying I'm not arachnophobic, and I'm actually glad that I'm not arachnophobic. Not to be saying that to hate on the ones who are arachnophobic, but anyway. Yeah, Galvantula is just an amazing looking spider Pokemon done right. Now, to be talking about Galvantula competitively, well, he's a pretty fast special attacker. Because with Beam Bug Ledger and all that, basically, his speed is that of 108, and his special attack is 97, which is not bad. Though the rest of his stats are, basically his defenses are at base 60, and his attack is at 77. So yeah, basically, he's built to be a decent special attacker. Not a great special attacker like, say, the likes of, like, Magnezone or Xurkitree, but he can be a decent one. And in terms of his abilities, there's one ability that he has that I really have a liking for, and it's that of Compound Eyes, where basically Galvantula's moves have their accuracy multiplied by 1.3 times, and Galvantula can know Thunder. Yeah. If you have a Galvantula that has Compound Eyes for its ability, I would highly recommend teaching it Thunder. Because it can have near perfect, or I believe it would have perfect accuracy. We even have a set, like there's even the Sticky Web set that even says to basically let it be timid nature with Compound Eyes, hold the Life Orb, and teaching it Thunder. Basically, Galvantula is a Pokemon that can do something, but not exactly to the greatest extent. But he can still do something. Now for Shiny Galvantula, oh man. He may not have like a complete overly drastic change, like all of his colors change into completely different colors, but it's a change that I absolutely love. Basically, you basically take the light blue parts and making them a darker blue color, and I believe the sort of like very light purple parts be turned into more like a dull bluish gray color. I absolutely love it. It's possibly one of my favorite shinies in all of Gen 5. Because it just looks so amazing. It just really feels like it just amplifies more of the electric typing. Just overall love it, love it, love it. That's all I can say about Shiny Galvantula. And I was really happy that when the Friend Safari came around, and I knew when I saw the electric type Friend Safari would have Galvantula in it, I was really stinking happy. So yeah, overall, Galvantula, a really personal favorite Gen 5 Pokemon, because I love the fact of having a giant electric-powered Tarantula, being a really decent special attacker, really love the shiny, will always hunt it whenever I want to in Gen 6, in the Friend Safari, even though I probably wouldn't use it too much, but whatever. Anyway, moving on to the next Pokemon in line, and I believe he is a fan favorite in Gen 5, and it is that of Haxorus. Oh yes, I loves me my Haxorus. Cause what can I really say about Haxorus? First of all, his design just looks like he would have been a pseudo-legendary. Because he definitely looks like a pseudo-legendary, but unfortunately he isn't. But I really felt like he definitely could have been a pseudo-legendary within the likes of Hydreigon. Like, it could have been like Gen 3 all over again with the pseudos. So yeah, Haxorus, he's basically sort of like a dinosaur with giant scythe hax blades on his face. How cool of a feature is that? I mean, seriously. That's all I can really say about Haxorus' design. It's just basically dinosaur-ish like with giant blades coming out the sides of his mouth. Now, Haxorus competitively? Whew! Oh man, is he a really good physical attacker. Because I mean, even by Smogon standards, he's in the UU tier. Because he hits that stinking hard. Because having 147 attack, oh man. Not to mention he's not too terribly slow at base 97 speed. And having a decent 90 physical defense is not bad either. And in terms of his abilities, he basically has Mold Breaker, Rivalry, and Unnerve. And since I already talked about Mold Breaker and I already talked about Rivalry when it comes to Luxray, and basically with Unnerve is, well, basically the opponent can't eat their berries if the Unnerved Pokemon is out. And yeah, basically with Haxorus, you can basically like teach him Sword Stance, let him be Jolly Nature with the Mold Breaker ability, holding either Dragonium Z or Lumberry, and just use Sword Stance and then just go to freaking town. Or you could also run like a D-Dance Haxorus. Because yeah, Haxorus can definitely bring out the physical damage output. I mean, would I ever use a Haxorus? Definitely. But yeah, Haxorus, really cool Pokemon in Gen 5, a fan favorite, because design-wise he looks awesome, battle prowess-wise he can do good, and that's all I gotta say about that. Now as for Shiny Haxorus, yep, he's basically a black shiny, and this to me is just leaps and bounds better than regular Haxorus. But I'm not saying that regular Haxorus' colors are bad. No, they're still cool. But it's just taking all the yellow, making it like a different kind of black. Because seriously, who doesn't love a black dragon? Seriously. That's all I can really say. And keeping the red colors the way they were is just... it was just the perfect touch. Lots of black with a little bit of red. I just love it. And the fact that he just also keeps those menacing, intimidating red eyes. Just love it. So that's all I really gotta say about Haxorus. Really awesome Pokemon, can be really good competitively. I kinda wish he could have been a pseudo-legendary with Hydreigon, but well, same could also be said about Volcarona, because Volcarona looked like it should have been a pseudo too, but hey, what can you do? Anyway, moving on to the next Pokemon in line for Gen 5 is, well, kind of like in the way with Galvantula. I mean, he's not liked too much, but also not hated too much. And that would be Crocodile. Ah, yes. Basically, sort of like the cousin to the likes of Feraligatr. Because basically we had a Gator back in Gen 2, so now with Gen 5 we bring in a Crocodile. And basically with me, alligators and crocs are basically my favorite reptiles. And the fact that with Gen 5 we now have a Crocodile is truly amazing. And the fact of Crocodile's typing of ground and dark is really nice. Because, yeah, you look at him and he definitely looks like a ground dark type. And basically, in terms of him battle-wise, he's pretty good. Because again, like with Haxorus and Braviary, or really say with some of the past other entries of Braviary, Dredigan, and Haxorus, he's a pretty good physical attacker, decently fast, can take hits alright, but there's the likes of his abilities, all of which focus on the attack stat of either himself or the opponent. Because, for one, he is an Intimidator. Yeah, he has Intimidate. Because, really, you basically have a Pokemon that is literally called the Intimidation Pokemon, and he has Intimidate. Because it would have been a stinking crime if the Intimidation Pokemon did not have Intimidate for his ability. And then basically his other two abilities is one that of Moxie, where basically if Crocodile KOs an opponent, Moxie will activate and his attack stat goes up. Then the other ability is that of Anger Point. Basically meaning if Crocodile gets hit by a crit, but okay. If Crocodile gets hit by a crit and he's not in a substitute, his attack stat gets maxed out. Yes, that's what Anger Point does. His attack stat gets maxed out. If he gets hit by a crit, it lives. Then, oh, y'all better watch out, because Crocodile will basically wreck so much face and possibly the whole body if that happens. So yeah, Crocodile has really good abilities, but more than likely people would run either Intimidate or Moxie Crocodile. Because looking at the sets here, yeah, we got Choice Scarf set and a Stealth Rock set. So yeah, basically, pretty much they would say just run Jolly Nature, give him Intimidate, and well, with those kind of things, you just go to town with him. Now, when speaking of shiny Crocodile, yeah, nobody likes it, but I find it to be alright. Because here's how the way I see it when it comes to Crocodile's colors. When you look at regular Crocodile, it definitely brings out more of his dark typing. But when I see shiny Crocodile, I feel like it brings out more of the ground typing, because you basically see that he has like his red body turns more into like a dull brown color, and the black parts be turned into like a yellow color. Even though I do feel like that the yellow part kind of ruins like the little shade, like, or the big shade marking on his face. Yeah, basically, yeah, the marking on his face doesn't basically look like a big massive pair of shades. I do feel like it kind of ruins the intimidation factor, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why, and really the only reason why I like shiny Crocodiles, because it brings out more of the ground typing within him. So basically, overall, I love Crocodile. A really cool Pokemon. Definitely brings out the intimidation. His shiny is not the worst in the world, but some people would probably say that. But yeah, really love the fact of a ground dark Crocodile Pokemon that can really bring intimidation fear into the hearts of other Pokemon. Anyway, moving on to the next Pokemon line. It is, well, that of Gigalith. Yes. Gigalith. So what is there to be said about Gigalith? Well, first of all, again, like with all the starting points, design. Just, wow. Just a big old quadrupedal rock monster with what I would call like crystal shards coming out of his body. It's just amazing. And the fact that Gigalith is actually compared to that of the likes of one Gen 1 Pokemon, and that being Golem. Because when you look at it, the Rock and Roll line and the Geodude line are kind of sort of the same way. Because they both start out as little rock Pokemon, grow into big old massive rock Pokemon, and to get to their final forms, they had to be traded in order to evolve. So yeah. But for me, if I were to choose between the Geodude line or the Rock and Roll line, I just go with more of the Rock and Roll line because I'm sorry to say, but I just like Gigalith more than Golem. And, well, even with the Alolan Geodude line, I still like Gigalith more. I'm sorry, it's just, he just looks better. Now, Gigalith competitively, well, his physical stats are really stinking good. Because you basically have attack of 135 and defense of 130. And of course, with having really good physical stats, special stats are just, and his speed is just, yeah, he is the definition of molasses slow. Yeah, 25. But with his abilities, he has the ability of Sand Force, where basically, if Gigalith is in a sandstorm, all of his ground, rock, and steel type moves have its power increased by 1.3. And of course, considering the fact that he is a rock type, he will not take damage in a sandstorm. And then with Sand Stream, basically, Gigalith would spawn a sandstorm the moment he is brought into battle. And of course, his third ability is that of Sturdy, basically at full health. If he were to be hit by a move that would have OHKO'd him, it won't. But yeah, basically with Gigalith, people would probably tend to run him more defensively, but he can still dish out a lot of physical hurt. Like seeing like a especially defensive set with having like Careful Nature, Sandstream with leftovers, and of course with having the EQ, because yeah, trust me, EQ is like the ground type to use if the Pokemon is able to do it. But yeah, Gigalith can definitely be a good physical monster. Now, Shiny Gigalith, just love it, because you basically it's like its main body doesn't really change too much. It just gets more of a purple tint. But the big change that I like the most is the fact that the red crystal-like shards on his body turn into a very nice, like a nice bright blue color, and they just kind of look more like I would say they look a bit more like diamonds in a way. And that's all I really have to say. It's definitely better than regular Gigalith. Because seriously, I do believe that Shiny Gigalith is definitely a Gen 5 fan-favorite shiny, in a way. And that's all I have to say. So overall, Gigalith, really love the design, love his stats in the physical department, and his shiny, just awesome. But anyway, moving on to the next Pokemon in line, and well, it's pretty much time to be talking about the pseudo-legendary of Generation 5, Hydreigon. Oh boy, when this thing came around on its debut, oh my god, does he know how to destroy. Because we take a look at Hydreigon competitively, his stats are just not that bad. Because he has really good attack stats, even though his special attack is better than his attack. Base 125 to 105. Defenses are not too bad at 90, and not too slow at 98 speed. believe me, when he debuted, he was just an OU monster. And having a really good typing of Dark Dragon and having the Levitate ability, which meaning he is immune to all ground attacks. Like I said, he will just wreck face. And not to mention with his design, just absolutely love it, even though those wings really wouldn't look like he would be able to fly, but he just does. And this is a little interesting thing for those of you who don't know about Hydreigon, or basically when it comes to the entire Dino line, that with Dino, Zweilous, and Hydreigon basically have the German of 1, 2, and 3 in their names. Basically with Dino, it's Ein, basically meaning 1. Zweilous with that of Zwei, meaning 2. And then Hydreigon, meaning basically the Drei, meaning 3. So yeah, German for 1, 2, and 3 are in their names, which is really amazing. And it also shows off in their designs too, because with Dino, 1 head, Zweilous, 2 heads, Hydreigon, 3 heads. So there you go. Now, the thing of it is that I feel kind of sad for, or really say I do feel sad for with Hydreigon, is that when he came to Gen 6, a certain new type came around and just kind of, screwed Hydreigon. And it is that of the fairy typing. Seriously, the fairy typing just utterly destroys the likes of Hydreigon. Because the fact that basically with Hydreigon being a Dark Dragon type, he's basically quad weak, I believe. Yeah, he is quad weak to all fairy type moves. And that's what makes me feel sad for him. Such an absolutely brutal monster gets destroyed by fairies. I mean, yeah, there are some good fairy types out there, but it just feels so sad to see the very monstrous, brutal Hydreigon get destroyed by, like, the likes of a Sylveon. I'm sorry, Sylveon fans. I do like Sylveon, just to say. I think it's a very nice fairy type. But yeah. Now for shiny Hydreigon, yeah, basically like the likes of Gigalith, its shiny is just way better than its regulars. Let's be honest. Because you basically take the black, make it a different kind of black, and then taking the blue, making it green, taking the reddish, like the dull magenta colors, and making it purple. Perfect combination. Just absolutely perfect. This is basically a case of a green shiny that is not hated for once. And yeah, like I said, leaps and bounds better than regular Hydreigon. And I know if I remember correctly that shiny Hydreigon and shiny Golurk were actually released for events like a few years ago when I do believe it was the first black and white movies came out. And basically in those movies were like one of them had a shiny Hydreigon and then the other one had a shiny Golurk, and they released events of those same shiny Pokemon. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, overall, I absolutely love Hydreigon, love the design, love the shiny, love his battle prowess, even though he just gets completely and totally screwed by any fairy types these days. But he can still hold his own because I do believe he is still in the UU tier at this point. But yeah, Hydreigon, just an absolutely savage beast, if done right. Anyway, to be talking about the next Pokemon in the line is, well, that of, I'm not quite sure if it would consider to be unusual, but, well, it's pretty much Electros. Yeah, it's Electros. So what can I say about Electros? Well, for one, the concept of basically like a bipedal electric eel Pokemon is really cool. Even though I'm not the absolute biggest fan of electric eels, this is definitely an exception. Now, Electros competitively? Well, unfortunately, by today's standards of Smogon, he mostly sucks. But I would say otherwise. Because he has some really good attack stats. Base 115 attack and base 105 attack, special attack. That is nothing to sneeze at. And his defenses are not, like, completely terrible at base 80. It's just the fact that he is rather slow at base 50. But the fact that when Electros debuted, he was not too shabby. And, well, even still today, I still feel like he could have some competitive use, regardless of what Smogon says about him. Because, yeah, he's basically within the stinky PU tier. But again, I disagree. Because here's the thing with Electros. He is a pure electric type, but he has the ability in Levitate. Meaning, well, back in the days of Black and White, he basically had no weakness. And really, it's still amazing today to see a pure electric type have the Levitate ability. Basically negating his one big weakness of ground. But, yeah, basically, you can't be able to, like, run the likes of, like, an Assault Vest Electros. Because, yeah, giving him, like, letting him be, like, quieter, modest nature, he can definitely do some work. So, yeah, this is just a case where I just disagree with what Smogon has to say about him. Because he can still do something. Now, for Shiny Electros, I would definitely say when it comes to Shiny Electros, I would say it's mid-ground. I mean, it's good, not exactly great, but it's good, but not exactly horrible either. It's basically taking the, well, basically for one, his like little lip thing around his mouth and making it a brighter pink is not bad. And then you take the blue light colors and making them like a light green color, taking his like very light beige color frills and feet and making them like a very light crystal blue light color, and then taking the yellow parts on his body and making them like, I guess I would call like maybe say a lime-ish green color. I would say it's not bad. Do I say it's better than regular Electros? Not really. I just say it's, like I said, mid-ground. So overall, I do like Electros for being, I do believe, the only electric eel-like Pokemon. Maybe in hopes that maybe someday in the future they could make another one, but who knows. Anyway, moving on to basically a legendary of Gen 5. Because, well, here's the thing when it comes to legendaries of Gen 5. I really feel like there's maybe one too many legendaries in Gen 5, but oh well, that's what Game Freak decided to do. But basically my choice for a legendary for Gen 5 that I have an absolute loving for is that of Kyurem. But more specifically, Kyurem Black. So, what is it that I like about Kyurem Black? I mean, first of all, you just gotta absolutely love that design. Even though I have heard some people say that he is, like, overly designed. And I'm like, huh? I don't really see what's so overly designed about Kyurem Black, or even White for that matter, too. Because consider the fact that both of Kyurem's forms are, I do believe, the first legitimate fusions of two Pokemon. Like, two different Pokemon. And from what I've also heard, that basically Kyurem had a much more stronger form in the combination of both Reshiram and Zekrom, where basically Kyurem was basically like one whole dragon, and then some mishap happened, and he basically split off into Reshiram and Zekrom, and Kyurem was just basically the empty shell that was left behind. And the alternate Kyurem forms of Black and White are only just half of what the full Kyurem form could have looked like. Because I have seen some art of what the full Kyurem form would have looked like, and it's amazing. But what is it that I like about Kyurem Black, Gold, and White? Well, I'm not saying that Kyurem White is a bad looking Pokemon, because it's pretty much almost as cool looking as Kyurem Black. But the thing that I like about Kyurem Black is, well, kind of sort of like in the same way as Dredigan. I do like the big long arms, and the fact that he has wings that look too small that he couldn't fly. But the one thing that I like about both of Kyurem's alternate forms is these tubes that come out from the back of their shoulders and attach to the tails and give them much more power. And some parts of their bodies actually light up, like their tails in different spots of their bodies. And just like in the concept of one half being like part Zekrom or Reshiram, and the other part just being all like covered in ice like Kyurem. I just love it. But with Zekrom, I just like him more because I just love his design more. Now, to be talking about Kyurem Black competitively, well, considering the fact that he's a stinking legendary, he's supposed to have good stats. And yeah, basically, he is a really damn good physical attacker. But some people could actually be able to run like a mixed Kyurem Black too. Because even though his attack is better than his special attack, like base 170 attack to 120 special attack, and really he has no stat under 90. And of course he would be in the OU tier, and you can basically let him have like the Icenium Z to do like the what was it called, the Sub-Zero Slammer, or basically what would be known as LOKB, which is basically Life Orb, and I don't know what the KB is supposed to mean. But y'all could probably tell me in the comments what that's supposed to mean of LOKB. But yeah, Kyurem Black can do really damn good competitively, even though I do believe that Kyurem White does better than Kyurem Black. But regardless, I still like Kyurem Black the way he is. Now to be talking about shiny Kyurem Black, well, it's definitely a change, I'll say that for sure. Basically, the icicle blue on the ice parts of his body have like I would say like a very, very slight change. I think probably like maybe like a very slight purple tint, I think. I'm not quite sure. The yellow part of the crest on Kyurem Black's head goes to that more of a pink color, which is not bad, and like the light gray parts of his body turn black, and the electric blue on his body turns to a neon green color, which is really cool. Like basically every electric blue part of his body turns neon green. It's really cool. So yeah, overall, I just really love Kyurem Black. So much in fact that I actually have a little figurine of him and a giant plush of Kyurem Black. I just love him that much. Because I do believe he is actually my favorite legendary of Gen 5 among all the other legendaries of Gen 5. So that's all I gotta say about Kyurem Black. Just awesome. Now moving on to the final Pokemon in line, and this is where I believe this is the part of the video that will potentially make this video about an hour long. Maybe. And well, it's basically that of my starter of choice for Gen 5, and trust me people, it's not what you're expecting it to be. Because when it came to my starter choice of Gen 5, this was basically the first time that I chose the Fire starter. That's right, folks. My starter for Gen 5 is Emboar. And oh boy. This starter has quite the reputation, and it is definitely a bad one. Because a lot of people, and I do mean a whole lot of people, hate this starter. And I mean, they absolutely hate this starter. Why? Well, here's one of the common complaints about Imbor. One of them being that he's the third firefighting starter in a row. I mean, yes, he is. But here's the problem that I have when people mention this. Is that him, along the likes of Blaziken and Infernape, they are, like, Imbor is just only one of 3 firefighting type Pokemon amongst, let me do this correct. Imbor is just one of 3 firefighting Pokemon amongst the entire roster of all 800 plus Pokemon today. And yet, the part that baffles me is that they complain about 3 firefighting type Pokemon in a row amongst 3 generations, but yet they don't complain about how overused Grass and Poison is. Like, seriously. They don't complain about Grass Poison being overused, yet they complain about firefighting being used just 3 times. Like, seriously, go and look and see how many Pokemon today are Grass Poison, and then look at how many firefighting type Pokemon there are. That just baffles me. Another common complaint about Imbor is just, it's really rather more childish, is that he's ugly. Really? You say Imbor is ugly, huh? To me, what I consider ugly is, well, the Gen 1 Pokemon that is Muck. Muck, to me, is butt ugly. Like, he's even more ugly than the Pokemon that has ugly in its name. Ugly. And also just a fact of him, along with Pignite, they pretty much say that they just have awkward designs because they're bipedal. Like, really? Like, seriously, he is not ugly, and his design is not awkward. So, I don't know what the hell y'all people are talking about. I'm really definitely sounding like I'm just ranting on this point because I am just really sick and tired of how much people are complaining about Imbor, saying that he is possibly the worst fire starter ever. Well, sorry to say, in my eyes, and I know I'm going to receive hate for this, but to me, what I think is the worst fire starter is that of Typhlosion. Now, Typhlosion fans, I'm sorry. It's just that if you were to be facing a Typhlosion online these days, all they're just going to do is just spam Eruption. That's all that he can do these days. So yeah, I'm sorry, Typhlosion to me is the worst fire starter, not Imbor. Anyway, enough ranting on about that. To be talking about Imbor competitively though, that is a different story. So what is basically Imbor like competitively? Well, he doesn't completely suck. Because pretty much like almost all the other Pokemon, or maybe quite all the other Pokemon on this list, he is a really good physical attacker. But when it comes to Imbor stats, this is where I basically have my one minor complaint about Imbor. Is that, I mean, yes, he has good attack. He has good HP. But the problem is, is his physical defense. I'm not exactly happy with the fact of his defense being at base 65. What they could have done, or what they should have done, is take his defense and special attack and swap them. That's what I felt like they should have done. But really, that's just my only complaint about Imbor, is that he should have had better defense. But hey, for the most part, he can be a decent wall breaker. And that's the thing that other people complain about Imbor, is that he's not like the likes of Blaziken or Infernape competitively. Well, no duh. Because Imbor was not built to be like a sweeper, like Blaziken or Infernape, or for Infernape, a mixed sweeper. Like, Imbor was meant to be a wall-breaking firefighting type, not a sweeping firefighting type. Okay? Because, I mean, yeah, Imbor doesn't completely suck. Because, well, by Smogon standards, he's RU. And the fact of with his hidden ability being that of Reckless, or, okay, yeah, pretty much Blaze, but his hidden ability is Reckless, where basically Imbor's attacks with recoil damage have their power increase, and all that jazz. But yeah, he can basically be a good wall breaker by having the Reckless ability and having Jolly Nature with the Choice Band. So yeah, that's all I really have to say, is that Imbor is not the worst fire starter. He does not suck. And if I were to ever play Gen 5 again, I'm just gonna pick Tepig again. Because I love Imbor. Now, Shiny Imbor. Well, this is the case of, well, giving a fire starter shiny Blue Flames. Because let's all be honest here, who doesn't love Blue Flames? Because, yeah, really in actuality, it just makes sense for Shiny Imbor to have Blue Flames. Because Blue Flames, pretty much in general, are actually hotter than Red Flames. Like, seriously, go look it up. Go look up the temperatures between Red Flames and Blue Flames. Because, yeah, pretty much if you were to be using like a gas-powered stove, and you turn it on, you take a look at the flames, the lowest most part of the flames are actually blue color because they're hotter. So yeah, like I said, it makes perfect sense for Shiny Imbor to be blue, because blue flames. So that's all I really have to say about Imbor, is that I basically love him a lot more than a lot of other people do, and yeah, I really do not like the fact that he is a pretty overhated starter. And I'm just pretty much saying this here, that this is a kind of thing that continues on for the fire starter of Gen 6 and especially 7. So, yeah. I love Imbor. I will pretty much use him again if I were to ever play Gen 5 again. And that's all I really have to say. So, that'll pretty much do it for this video. Now, again, I apologize for this video being long, because I really tried to make it shorter, I did. But, yeah, that's basically all the Gen 5 Pokemon that I have a good liking for. I mean, I did have more, but I just wanted to keep this as short as I could. So, thank y'all so much for watching, and, well, I'll basically be seeing you guys whenever I decide to upload something next, which I don't know what that is. Hopefully it'll be when it comes to talking about Pokemon from Generation 6 that I have a liking for. So, I'll be seeing you guys